gorgeous day. We have seen this before in other cities, in Boston, in Seattle. We have seen it in Cleveland. We've seen it in Detroit. Chicago, they get the first taste of Wrigley Field in about 12 seasons. They get to come out here. It's a sea of blue all over the place. You and I, we drove in this morning, and the fans were hooting and hollering and bringing signs and yelling and screaming. And you said it in the opening, where else in a ballpark for the home team that won the World Series where you get a chant of "Let's go Blue Jays"? It was wild.
It was absolutely wild. And then during the national anthem, they were all singing "O Canada." It's a great atmosphere, and it's going to be like that for 3 straight days here in Chicago. The Blue Jays have been red hot. John Gibbons' ball club over the last 23 games. They've won 15 of those 23, and they've out-homered their opponents by a wide margin.
Well, they're pitching better, much better. The starters have been going a little bit deeper. The bullpen has been outstanding, and they're hitting home runs again. Spearheaded by Josh Donaldson. Josh has been doing it all and basically carrying this team offensively with his hot bat, and he gets another shot here in the first inning.
Well, the Jays lineup red hot, none hotter than Josh Donaldson, as Jake Arrieta is set to take the mound. The former Cy Young Award winner will open up this 3-game series. Here's the lineup for John Gibbons' Blue Jays. Jose Bautista and Josh Donaldson. What a tandem they have been at the top of this lineup. Bautista this season in interleague play is really fattened his average against the National League pitching. .377 average with 4 doubles and 4 home runs. And right behind him, look at the hot streak for Donaldson. A 6-game hit streak, but look at the damage. A double, 5 home runs, and 10 RBIs. For the 10-game homestand, Josh Donaldson went deep 7 times and drove in 16 runs.
They are in tough this afternoon against Jake Arrieta, 25th start of the season, 2015 Cy Young Award winner in the National League, 2016 All-Star. He's 12-8 with a .373 earned run average. And to make matters worse, he comes into this game on a nice little hot streak, 6 straight quality starts. Last time out at Arizona, he won that game 7-2, 6 innings. He only gave up 1 earned run. Over his last 6 starts, he's only given up 9 earned runs altogether. He creates a very tough angle, especially for right-handers, as he gets that ball inside and outside. He steps across his body like that. He's just awfully tough. Righties are going to have to stay in against Arrieta this afternoon.
Take a look at the defense, says Albert Almora Jr. is in center field. Baez and Happ up the middle, and they have a rookie catcher behind the plate filling in for some of their veterans.
Yeah, Wilson Contreras is on the disabled list with a hamstring, so Victor Caratini will get the start today. The catchers for the Cubs have committed 17 errors this season, the most in Major League Baseball. That's been a little bit of a sour spot for the Cubs this season. Their defense, Caratini's got a big job this afternoon catching Jake Arrieta.
The Cubs have committed 78 errors as a team. Only 3 teams in the National League have made more errors. The Blue Jays on this spectacular day set to start this ball game. Baseball was meant to be played in the sunshine, and we've got that today. Here's the first pitch of the game. It is in there for a strike, and we're underway. 24 degrees at the start of this ball game. Bautista, as we mentioned, hitting .377 against the National League this season. Strike 2.
You can see that tough angle I was just talking about with Jake Arrieta. He starts on the third base side of the pitching rubber, throws across his body, but it has that ability to crossfire that ball into the outside corner to righties. Right-handed batters this year against Arrieta, .205. Just haven't been able to do anything against him.
There's a good example of how much of a crossfire delivery it is. He steps toward the third base foul line and then comes across his body. Difficult to pick up that baseball out of his hand. 1-2 outside. It's 2-2 now. Bautista 0 for 13 against Jake Arrieta. Of course, Arrieta began his big league career with the Baltimore Orioles. Two and 2 pitch, and Bautista asked for time.
Pitcher and catcher just couldn't get together on the sign what they want to do here with 2 strikes.
Way out in front of home in the dirt. It's a full count. How many times have we seen this with Bautista in the last 2 weeks?
working over that starting pitcher first at bat of the game. He gets 7 or 8 pitches. That gives Josh Donaldson on the on deck circle a look at everything that Arrieta has been able to feature.
Hit in the air. First baseman Rizzo coming down. He takes charge and makes the catch in foul territory. 1 away. Well, Josh Donaldson has put together a big month of August. When you take a look at the OPS leaders in the majors, he is top of the heap.
Well, everybody's been talking about Giancarlo Stanton and what he has been doing. And Joey Gallo's been on a hot streak also with the home runs. But guess who's been better than all of them? Josh Donaldson in the month of August has an OPS of 1.530, the best in all of baseball. He is getting his pitch. He's not missing it. He's laying off that tough slider down and away. And watch out in the first inning.
He has hit 10 first inning home runs this season. That's the most in the majors. 8 of his last 11 home runs have been in the first inning. It doesn't take him long to get into the spirit of the game. Big breaking ball misses.
That's the pitch that Josh has been laying off of. And when you come into his zone, you get a loud sound from his bat. 13th career multi-home run game yesterday.
Fly ball, not that deep. Albert Almora Jr., the center fielder, calling for it. He makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down. Well, that'll bring the hero of yesterday's game to the plate here with 2 outs in the first. Justin Smoak
just keeps rolling right along. The Tampa Bay Rays had tied it up, and he was facing a tough pitcher in Tommy Hunter. Said he laid off a couple of pitches. He knew Hunter from his days together in Texas, and he knew he had to challenge him with the fastball. He got it, and that was a typical Justin Smoak long home run to right field. Uppercut that ball right out of here for number 33.
Smoak is one of 4 Blue Jays in the lineup that are playing for the first time here at Wrigley Field. He takes the first pitch ball from Jake Arrieta. Arrieta's got a classic delivery. The only unusual thing about his delivery is that alignment, how he steps so far across his body. I mean, that's as dramatic as Jared Weaver's dramatic crossfire delivery.
And you would think that he would not be able to then throw inside to lefties, but he has that ability to reach out and still get that ball inside to the left-handed batter. Saw him when he was with Baltimore, big and strong. Just a matter of time, I think, before he became a pretty good pitcher.
Arrieta spent parts of 4 seasons with the Orioles. He made his debut in 2010. Made 18 starts for Baltimore, had a 6-6 record. Over his time in Baltimore, his record was 20-25 with a gaudy ERA at 5.46.
He was their opening day starter one year, and then they traded him. And what a trade it was for the Cubs.
Smoak asked for time. Arrieta was traded to Chicago with Pedro Strop for Steve Clevenger, a catcher, and the journeyman pitcher Scott Feldman. I would say a pretty good deal for the Cubs.
There was also some international draft spots that came to the Cubs in that deal also, and he has just taken off as a pitcher here.
Smoak hits it, and this is going to get down. Hayward over to play it off the ivy, and Smoak is headed for second. Hayward's got a strong arm, but Smoak slides in safely with a 2-out double, his 20th double of the season.
Just keeps rolling right along. He's become a very good breaking ball hitter, and I think that's what Arrieta threw him right there. Tried to backdoor that breaking ball and hung out over the plate. Again, he couldn't get that ball into the lefty. So Smoak is all over it, extends this ball and tops it. Drills it into the right field corner for extra bases.
Smoak now has 3 hits in his last 4 at-bats. Steve Pearce, he takes strike 1. Pierce has played in this ballpark in the past. He's playing in his 17th game here at Wrigley. Has a homer and 6 RBIs in 47 at-bats.
Steve was saying he played here when he was with the Pirates. He said, it's okay field. He said generally the ball doesn't blow out like everybody thinks it does.
You're right. It's a ballpark that can change as dramatically as any in the game, from inning to inning, literally.
And as an outfielder, those bleachers are right behind you.
Off-speed pitch. You know firsthand. You played here in the outfield. What's it like for outfielders playing here for the first or second time?
As a home player, it's great because the fans don't get on you. But as a visiting player, they are all over you. But like I said, that's Jason Hayward in right field. They are right behind you. There's not a lot of room to run in foul territory or behind you.
Just missed. 1-2 now to Pierce with 2 outs. Jake Arrieta, now 31 years old. Drafted in the 5th round by the Orioles in 2007 out of Texas Christian University. Ground ball, base hit into right. Smoke's being waved around third. Hayward will throw it in, but they'll cut it off, and the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. A 2-out rally. Smoke with a double, Pierce with the RBI single.
I think that's a case too where the shift really backfired on the Chicago Cubs. They were playing Pierce to pull, so the second baseman was right behind the pitcher, opening up the right side of the infield. Look at that. With 2 strikes, a right-handed batter, especially like Steve Pierce, who's a good RBI man, he's going to cut his swing down, try and hit the ball where it's pitched. It makes it into the outfield. No chance for Hayward to come around and get Smoke, so he will score the game's first run.
The last 3 games, Pierce has done a good job of hitting the ball to the right side, including a home run on Wednesday at Rogers Center. He stung a ball in yesterday's game to right field and fly it out. So that's a pretty good approach. It turns a Blue Jays into a lead run here.
Especially with 2 strikes. Got to straighten up against Pierce.
It's an interesting matchup. Miguel Montero against Jake Arrieta. Montero hits the grounder to second, has it, and that'll end the inning. But the Blue Jays rally with 2 outs and nobody on. Smoke hits the double. Pierce cashes him in with the RBI single. Terrific job. He was the National League Manager of the Year in 2015. He snapped a 108-year-old drought. He brought the World Series here to Chicago last season. Take a look at his lineup. They are in first by a game in the Central. Albert Almora Jr., former #1 pick, top of the order. He's hit well in interleague play, much like Jose Bautista. Got a pair of doubles and 2 home runs against the American League. And how about Anthony Rizzo, the first baseman, a left-handed hitter against the lefty Jay Happ, has put up some big numbers, including a career home run against Happ.
They got some firepower in that lineup for the Cubs, especially in this ballpark. They can make it look small in a hurry. Jay Happ, 18th start of the season. He's 6-8 with a 363 earned run average. He comes in here on a nice little roll. He won his 3rd consecutive start. Last time out, that was against Pittsburgh. In fact, that 3-game winning streak started right here in Chicago on the south side against the White Sox when he struck out 10. He gets the Cubs now for the first time since 2015.
That was the first pitch strike to Albert Almora Jr. Curveball pulled foul. The Cubs have done a terrific job of drafting and developing. Almora Jr. is one of 5 #1 picks currently on this roster. They haven't missed on their #1 draft choices.
For so long, they were so bad. They had some high picks, a lot like what Houston has done recently. We saw it with Tampa Bay 10, 12 years ago. Here's another #1 pick. He was 2nd overall, I believe, the year he was drafted. It's one thing to have those picks, then you got to hit on them, and the Cubs have hit on them.
The 5 #1 picks in a row: Javier Baez, Almora Jr., Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, and Ian Happ. That's pretty good. All position players. And take those position players at #1 picks, and chances are, if they make it to the big leagues, they're going to be a long-term player for you. There's Schwarber, who had a terrific postseason run last year in the World Series. Had some key hits for them. Happ with that high fastball strikes out Albert Almora Jr. 1 away. Well, a lot of guys playing in this ballpark for the first time, including the center fielder, Kevin Pillar. He knows he's got to pay attention, but the catcher, he's very familiar with the surroundings.
Yeah, he was the former Cub. Miguel Montero come back here, said, hey, welcome home today. He goes, well, this isn't really home, but I'm very familiar with this. This is 2nd straight start for Montero behind the dish. He gets the job of catching Jay Happ, and he knows these Cub hitters as well as anybody.
Happ delivers a strike to Chris Bryant. .291 with 23 homers this season. One of the real bright young stars in all of baseball. Bryant's just 25 years old. He has been the Rookie of the Year, and last year he won his first MVP award.
It's only happened 4 times in baseball history where you win Rookie of the Year and then MVP the next year. Dustin Pedroia did it. Cal Ripken did it. I think Ryan Howard did it, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. It's a very small class that would win the Rookie of the Year and then the following year win MVP.
He's got that ability to get the ball in the air. He got that uppercut, classic home run swing. I think that's why the Blue Jays are going to want to pitch him inside. Stay in there against Bryant because he can muscle the ball out of the ballpark.
He's got a Blue Jay connection as well. Chris Bryant was drafted by the Blue Jays in 2010 in the 18th round. Drafted out of high school in Las Vegas. He said, no, thank you. He said, I'm going to go to University of San Diego, and he became a #1 pick. Breaking ball, and Jay Happ is off to a good start here at Wrigley.
Well, along with those home runs, you're going to get those strikeouts also. Jay with a breaking ball down and in, and Bryant swings over the top of it. It was Ryan Howard, the other guy. 4 players that have won Rookie of the Year and MVP in their 2nd season. Jay Happ made the MVP look bad on that one.
Well, here's a hitter that has hit well against Happ in the past. We mentioned Anthony Rizzo, 5 for 8 with a home run against Jay Happ. 2 strikeouts for Happ to start the game. Rizzo, one of the leaders of this ball club. Anthony is 28 years old. Just turned 28 the 1st of this month. Grew up in Florida. He was drafted by the Red Sox initially. And it's hard to fathom that he would move as much as he has. But he went from Boston to San Diego, and then from San Diego to the Cubs. Came here in 2012 in January.
Found a home here in Chicago, and he's one of the leaders of this team. He stands right on top of that plate, so there's not a lot of margin for error if you're Jay Happ. Chokes up just a little bit all the time, right on top of the plate. There he is. Tough to get the ball inside on him.
Happ got it inside and jammed him. We have mentioned that Anthony Rizzo, his style of hitting, choking up, has had an impact on Ryan Goins. Goins has been paying attention to what Rizzo does, and notice that he chokes up, and he's got 28 home runs. Going upstairs again. Didn't get it up there high enough. Rizzo, now in his 7th season. Goins admires Rizzo from afar. Ryan is one of the Blue Jays playing at Wrigley for the first time. A ball and 2 strikes. Weekly hit. Goins from the outfield grass makes an easy play of it. Jay Happ has an easy inning to start this game. Happ needs just 16 pitches to retire the side in order.
Canadian City here today, and Blue Jay fans are watching a team that is hot and confident. Jose Bautista told me pregame it's been some big wins for us recently. He said we're playing some real good baseball the last few weeks. One thing Bautista mentioned is that as a collective, it's not a team trying to put too much pressure on one another while following the standings. He said it's not all about do this or do all of that. Justin Smoke told me this last tear is a byproduct of playing better baseball all around, moving guys over, cashing in with runners in scoring position. Smoke said you have to do the little things to win, and we've been able to do that. Now, the nucleus of this group, of course, has reached back-to-back Octobers. Bautista pointed that that experience can help tremendously in the quest to try and get back. Bautista said, we've been in these situations before. That's an edge. That is an advantage.
Surely can't help, that's for sure. Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Kevin Pillar takes the first pitch strike from Jake Arrieta. Pillar is 3 for 3 going up against Arrieta.
You know, all you have to look at is that last series, Blue Jays versus the Rays. Blue Jays did all the little things, even just running the bases and taking 90 feet or blocking the ball in the dirt. The Rays didn't. Blue Jays won 3 out of 4.
Yeah, Blue Jays had an excellent series of the fundamental aspects of the game. Base running, key defensive plays. Darwin Barney knocking the ball down on the infield to keep a runner scoring from second.
Throwing to the right base, keeping the double play in order. You know, all those little things like that that can help you win ball games. It might not be the big hero as Pillar strikes out. It might not be the headlines in the newspaper the next day, but those little things, you add them up, they help you win ball games.
Absolutely, that wins ball games, and Pillar strikes out. That'll bring Ryan Goins to the plate. First strikeout for Arrieta. Goins has tied his career high with 45 RBIs. That was set in 2015. He's taken over every day at shortstop, obviously, with Troy Tulowitzki out for the season.
Good to see him back after getting stepped on the other day on that attempt at second base.
Head first slide. He was trying to move into second base. The throw was offline. Daniel Robertson, the second shortstop, went into the baseline to catch the ball and stepped on Goins' left forearm. No problem. He is well and back in the lineup. Inside, 1-2. Ball 2. Pulled that one inside as well.
See how tough that is at times for a pitcher like Arrieta to get that ball inside to the lefties. And the last thing you don't want to leave it out over the plate. Trying to knock that inside corner.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Arrieta here in the second.
Number 18, second baseman, Darwin Barney.
Darwin Barney played for the Cubs for 5 seasons, and in 2012 he won his only Gold Glove while playing second base for the Cubs. Goes after the first pitch. It's a fly ball to center. That's it. Quick inning for Arrieta. A couple of strikeouts, no problem. 3 up, 3 down. Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the second. Ben Zobrist will lead things off.
The all-new 2017 Honda CR-V. With revamped cargo space, it's the biggest van yet.
Beautiful day in Chicago. John Gibbons came out to talk to the first base umpire, crew chief Joe West. And after that, Joe West came to this tendon down on the field. And I'm not, obviously have no idea what this is about, but it looked like John was just going to go out and say hi to his pal Joe West. And then after the conversation, West came in and spoke to that attendant. And I don't know what in the world that could be about.
It was a definite message. He had something to relay to him. He gave it to the attendant. I don't know if a fan was coming down and giving him the grief or something.
Ben Zobrist, the left fielder, switch hitter, batting right-handed against Jay Happ. Zobrist 6 for 19. Obviously, these two have played a lot against each other. If you can hear the jets overhead, they are practicing for a terrific air show that'll begin tomorrow. Over the weekend, they have one of the best air shows in the world. The Chicago Water and Air Show on the Lakeshore, and Ben Zobrist takes ball 4.
I think Jay's a little perplexed early on about the strike zone. He threw a couple of balls in the first inning that he thought were strikes, but called off the plate.
Ben May is the home plate umpire, one of the fill-in umpires that goes back and forth between the minors and the majors. So leadoff walk, Ian Happ, he too is a switch hitter. In fact, Zobrist, Happ, and Caratini all switch hitters.
Another one of those #1 picks that you were talking about from the University of Cincinnati. Came up late this season, has already got 17 home runs. He can play the outfield, he can play the infield. He looks like your typical Joe Madden type of player. Multi-talented, play different positions and swing the stick.
And the switch hitter on top of that. Chases that high heater. Happ's ahead quickly, 0-2. Jay Happ has been throwing the ball so well, he can make adjustments to a conservative strike zone.
His fastball command has been really good. He's been able to backdoor that cutter at times to righties. He can go inside with them. Looks like they're going to go up again.
That'll straighten him up. You mentioned Happ just coming up. Ian, that is. This is his 79th game of the season, and you're right, he's put up big numbers in a short time.
In a short time, there's that cutter that's up and in to back him off the plate. He looked like he was walking into that ball. Now you can try and go away if you want to.
Came right back with the same pitch.
Well, he exposes his arms, doesn't he, on those check swings?
They all do. That's why you see so many hitters hit on the wrist and the forearm, and they suffer the injuries because their first move is to clear out that front side. Zobrist hit first. Not much of a base stealing threat. Off speed pitch. Boy, Happ set that up perfectly. A couple of high fastballs up and in, and then he dropped the off speed pitch on him.
He's had 23 strikeouts in his last 3 starts before today. A lot of them with the fastball. He throws more fastballs than anybody in the American League. Today, though, he's using that breaking ball here early in the contest.
You know what he's done? He's really improved his curveball. That was that last pitch, and he's got more depth to it, and because of that, he's got more confidence to use it for a put-away pitch. One out. Here is Victor Caratini, the 3rd straight switch hitter for the Cubs. Listen, Ramos, as Pat mentioned, on the DL with a hamstring injury, and boy, was that a tough loss. He was on fire when he got hurt.
Up over 20 home runs. Seems like every time you pick up the newspaper or you turn on the TV, he was hitting home runs for the Cubs. Another one of their young stars. He's got a mid-grade strain, so it's 4 to 6 weeks that he's going to be out. Joe Madden has had to deal with some injuries this season.
He sure has, and certainly have had to deal with the hangover from the World Series, playing so late into the offseason. Ball on the strike. Upstairs. Contreras, 21 home runs, 70 RBIs, and then he got hurt, and he was putting up big numbers.
Second half, just raking.
Caratini is from Puerto Rico. He was originally drafted by the Atlanta Braves, 2nd round pick out of college in Florida. 3-1. Driven to right. Bautista's not going to get it. He plays it off the wall, and they're going to stop Zobrist at 3rd. Caratini with the double, and that ball just wanders to a stop by the 3rd base foul line. Zobrist is at 3rd. Caratini with his 3rd double is at 2nd.
Beats him with a fastball away, and he slices it down the right field line. Again, there's not a lot of room down the right field line. Bautista does a good job of getting it in, but the relay throw glances off the glove of Barney. Mishandled by the Blue Jays second baseman, and that ball rolled all the way to the third base line. If they were sending Zobrist, he was going to score.
Well, even if Zobrist kept looking at baseball and followed it off the glove of Barney, he could have scored on his own. But he didn't. One out. Jason Hayward 0 for 5 against Jay Happ. You need to get this guy out. Pop him up, strike him out. Because the number 8 hitter's on deck, and you have to remember the pitcher's in this lineup.
If you get him out, then you can pitch around Baez.
Popped him up, but it's out of play.
And he has struggled this season, Jason Hayward. Ever since he signed that big contract with the Cubs, he just hasn't been able to put it together like everybody thought he would. Massive talent.
Picked up his 1,000th career hit on August 6th in the eighth inning of that game. Ground ball. That's going to score a run. Happ was late, and Hayward's going to beat him. Happ didn't break off the mound, and Hayward will be given the credit for an infield base hit and an RBI. Boy, you deliver that pitch as a lefty, and it's hit to the right side. You've got to turn and burn to first.
You'll get the catcher telling you get over there. Jake just had a brain cramp. Just wasn't sure. He was thinking about the ball going home. Maybe the infield was in and the ground ball was, the play was going to be at the plate, and he forgot to go over to first base. Watch Jay hesitate, and that's all it takes. That little hesitation right there, and he's not going to beat Hayward to first.
So Caratini ends up at third. Hayward at first for Javi Baez. That's his trademark right there. He is a free swinger. Notice he's got that jersey unbuttoned at the top.
There's a reason for that. So he gets some movement in his shoulders. There's a lot of movement in his swing. When he connects, and he's connected 19 times this year for a home run, it can go a long way.
Baez has hit in 13 of his last 15 games coming into this game today.
And he will strike out. So make some pitches.
Remember, the pitcher is on deck, Jake Arrieta. So Hayward with an RBI single. He's at first. Caratini's at third. Boy, there's a distinct windup to his swing, isn't there?
Picks up that front leg. The arms are moving. He's got a lot of bat speed. Look at the movement. And a little bit tardy on that fastball.
1-2 now. Baez with 105 strikeouts. Puts this one in play, and this is trouble. That's going to drop for a base hit. Caratini is in to score. Hayward stops at second, and Baez with a bloop RBI single, and the Cubs have taken the lead.
Went back up there to try and get the strikeout. Try to get the punch out with that runner at third base in less than 2 outs. He wasn't able to get it up there. Baez just fights it off. Inside out swing. Right down the right field line. Bautista tries to decoy the runners like he's going to catch it, but no chance in right field. So a couple of bloopers. They've got the Cubs right back in the lead.
And it all began with a leadoff walk. Half walk Ben Zobrist to start the inning. Zobrist scored the first run. Caratini has scored run number 2, and now the pitcher's spot. Jake Arrieta. He can swing the bat a little bit.
There's no guarantee he's bunting here. Yeah, he's got a home run and 5 RBIs this year and a respectable 140 batting average.
Arrieta won the Silver Slugger Award in 2015 for being the best hitting pitcher in the National League. 2016 is when he won it.
And he takes a lot of pride in his hitting.
You know what, as a starting pitcher, if you can work on your hitting and handle the bat, bunt, and everything else, you're going to keep yourself in the game longer. He's got 5 career home runs. The longer you stay in the game, the better chance you have to win. 1-1, 1 out. And oh, by the way, wins are important.
Yeah, they are important. Jay, again, is not real happy with the strike zone. You can just read his body language. That last pitch was called a ball. John Gibbons isn't real happy with the strike zone either. You can see on pitch cast that they're right there.
Arrieta swings right through it. 2-2 now. Pete Walker is back with the ball club. He is back in the dugout. He was away for the team for a while. There's a fly ball hit to right. Bautista's back. This ball is carrying. Jose makes the catch. Hayward was all the way toward third. He'll retreat, as will Baez back to first. And Arrieta told you he could swing the bat. He put a charge in that one.
That ball carried too. The wind carried it all the way to the warning track in right field. Jake Arrieta with 2 strikes gives it a ride to right field. Hayward thinks that the ball's over the head of Bautista. So he was reading it and getting closer to third base. He's got to go back.
Back to the leadoff man, Howard Almora Jr. The Cubs have taken a 2-1 lead here in the second. That's going to drop. Hit backhand over Barney's head. Hayward's in to score. Bautista's throw. They've got hung up in between first and second. Here comes a runner from third, and he's going to be out. Baez was tagged on the foot, and I don't think he touched home plate when he slid past it the first time. Montero slapped the tag on him. It looked like he may have gotten him on the leg.
Yeah, I think that's what the umpire said, that he got him on the foot. The question becomes, did he get his hand on the plate before the tag? Joe Madden has already come out, and he's going to try to decide what to do here. What a crazy play. The blooper, again, another blooper just out of the reach of Barney. Bautista comes up firing. It's cut off by Goins, and a heads-up play by Smoke to get back into that rundown. And that's where you want to take off when that throw gets to the shortstop. As he starts to run him back to first base, the runner takes off from third. He never did get to the plate, but the question is, did he block home plate?
Yeah,
did the throw take him into blocking the plate?
I think he had gotten the position of blocking the plate before he had the baseball. And that's probably what they're going to look at, because Montero set up in the baseline, waiting the throw. And when he got the throw, he had already been in the baseline, and Baez was forced to slide around him. And you can see Ben May, the home plate umpire, right on top of it, recognized that Baez never touched home plate. But did he have a clear path? You can see Montero tag him on the foot.
There's the tag. There's the setup. He's giving him a lane. The throw's taking him in. He steps into the batter's box.
But he hadn't had the ball. By the time he got the ball, he was already set up in that blocking position. And if they interpret it correctly, Baez will probably be called safe, because he didn't have a clear path to slide. You have to give that runner a lane on those plays at the plate. Now, we talked about having the catcher have to move into the line to catch the ball, and he did that, but he did it after the fact. So that'll be interesting to see how they interpret it.
The interpretation. Did the throw take him into the baseline?
Did he set up there before the throw is on its way? There's the step, and he did indeed step to make the catch. And once you step and make the catch, you have the right to block the base run. It's going to take a while before they determine this one.
This will take a while, and they're going to talk to all the parties involved. Hayward's going to score. He scored on that single by Almora.
Well, the way it is right now, according to the way I can sort it out, 9-6-3-6-2 on the put out at home. A run has come in. Now the question is whether another run will come in, and that would be Baez. Chicago has a 3-1 lead right now. Almora credited with an RBI and possibly 2. Looks like they just about have their decision. Joe West, the crew chief, umpiring at first.
This is going to be interesting. I'd like to see where the ball is when Montero started stepping to get that throw. I don't know. Joe Madden wants to get an explanation, or he wants to pull his player away. But it's the 3rd out of the inning.
Now Madden is out to talk to the umpire, and that's Albert Almora Jr. is talking with Joe West, who wants an explanation as to why that run didn't score. Joe Madden's out to talk to the home plate umpire, Ben May. He's got the same question. So the run is cut down at the plate, but the Cubs have taken a 3-1 lead as we head to the top of the 3rd.
The code MBJ3452 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. The code must be entered by 4 a.m. Buck.
Thank you very much, Arash. Arash is here with us. Buck Martinez along with Pat Tabler here in Chicago. 3-1 Cubs. Jay Happ batting for the first time this season. Jay last year was 2 for 7, had a couple of singles.
Did you have a chance to watch him take batting practice the last couple of days at Rogers Center?
I did.
Looks pretty good.
And he swung at that one pretty well.
It's a nice level swing. Catches it out in front. Now, big difference between Josue pitching to him and Jake Arrieta. Josue Pele is the interpreter, throws batting practice for the early guys for the Blue Jays.
He pulls that one foul on the right side. Jay Happ for his career has 18 hits and 186 at bats. That's a .097 batting average. But he does have a career home run. Strikes out here, leading off the Top of the third. 3 strikeouts for Arrieta. Jose Bautista popped out to the first baseman his first time up. This is the 186th career start for Arrieta. Bautista goes after the breaking ball. Arrieta went for it barehanded and couldn't come up with the play. It'll be an infield hit for Bautista. Arrieta's a terrific athlete. He's really in great shape and always works hard at fielding, but that time he went to grab it barehanded and couldn't make the play.
Anytime the ball is rolling, you got to use your glove. I think if he backhands this ball with his glove, he's got time to step and throw and make the out over at first base. Got a little bit ahead of himself right there, got a little bit too quick, misplayed it, and Jose is the benefactor of that with a base hit.
Third hit for the Blue Jays. Anytime you can retire the batter ahead of Donaldson, you better retire him. The way he's swinging the bat lately, he can get the Blue Jays right back in the game quickly. Absolutely incredible how the Jays fans have turned out here in Wrigley Field.
It is the 18th day of August. JD's got 21 RBIs this month.
Yeah. He's put up big numbers in the month, and everybody was talking about Giancarlo Stanton, and rightly so, given the way he was hitting home runs. But Josh Donaldson's right there. He has tied him with RBIs in the month of August with 21.
Talking to some of the coaches after the ball game yesterday, they're saying they've never seen him better. He is coming up with big hit after big hit for the Blue Jays, for the team, and driving in big runs, important runs, setting the tone early on in a ball game for him.
Donaldson has flourished in interleague play. His career OPS in interleague play is .969. That's the third among active players. Arrieta with a quick move to first. Of course, Bautista to 9 back in. High strike. A ball and 2 strikes to Donaldson. I mentioned this is the first time Arrieta has faced Josh Donaldson. Breaking ball. Boy, he is so hot right now. He picks up that ball very quickly and makes a determination, swing or take.
Yesterday, Chris Archer threw him a 3-run slider. Archer has one of the best sliders in all of baseball. He made a mistake with it, and Josh hit a line drive to left field in the first inning for a home run. So he's seeing it early. Works it again to 3-2.
Dustin Smoke is on deck. Another thing that Donaldson has done so well is he has taken his walks. He has not expanded the zone, even as hot as he's been. It's probably why he's been so hot. He's not chasing borderline pitches.
Yeah, early on, remember when he first came back off the disabled list, he was swinging at that slider off the plate. Now he's laying off of it.
Bautista's running. Donaldson strikes out. Bautista stops in between first and second, and he is tagged out. Victor Caratini made a good throw to second. Bautista saw the strikeout, tried to get back, got in a run down, but it's tagged out. That ends the inning. Donaldson strikes out, the 4th strikeout. Caratini throws a strike to Zobrist, and they make quick play of it. Ian Happ, excuse me, at second.
And yet.
One of the great cities in the world, one of the best sports venues in sports, Wrigley Field, and the fans have turned out for years, and last year they really had something to celebrate, the first World Series championship in 108 years. Chris Bryant hits one into the seats, foul up the first baseline. Bryant struck out his first time up. There you see the banner acknowledging the world champs of 2016.
Did you see how they raised that on opening day here this season? The whole team went out there and had a hand in hoisting the flag up.
Yeah, it was very good, and they've done some great things here. All the players, all the coaches, managers, everybody had a chance to pull on that rope and raise the flag here in center field. Up and in. Happ has had good command of that pitch.
Yeah, they wanted the ball up. I don't know if necessarily they wanted it in against Bryant right there, but he pulls it in. They just wanted up letter high to see if Chris will swing at it. But he backs him off the plate. Last time he came with that slow breaking ball to strike him out.
Missed the inside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Grounder hit the third. Donaldson goes in time at first. Bang, bang, but he gets Bryant.
You know, Chris Bryant is about 6'5", and he goes about 225, 230. He can run. He got down that line. He's got 7 stolen bases this year. It tells you he can run. He carries some big steps when he goes down that first base line. So Donaldson's got to hurry. He throws a strike, and he is out. Josh, if he doesn't get on this thing quick, you see how he stutter steps to get his feet set. He's going to beat that out.
You can see how Bryant lunged for the base. That almost cost him a half a step. Anthony Rizzo, he grounded out to second. His only time up. To left field. Pierce over to cut it off. Rizzo has a base hit.
Yeah, there's something about Jay Happ that Anthony Rizzo enjoys.
6 for 10.
I'm not going to try and pull him. He tried pulling him last time up and he grounded out. This time he just goes with him. Watch how the bat head lags just a little bit. Slices that ball the other way. He was a big prospect in the Red Sox organization when they traded him to San Diego, and that didn't work out too well over there. They thought he was a flop and a dud, but he's come here to Chicago. He's one of the best players in the National League.
You've really got to know your own players before you start shipping them away. Give them a chance to develop and prosper. But boy, he has found a home here with the Cubs. Ben Zobrist, the left fielder. He's got a ball and a strike count. Zobrist started that rally in the second. He had a leadoff walk. He drew that walk off Happ and then moved around the bases on a double by Caratini and scored on Hayward's infield hit.
Hey, all this guy does is win World Series rings. Ben Zobrist, he was on that Tampa Bay team that got to the World Series and lost. That was coached by Joe Madden. He also has a World Series ring with Kansas City. And then, of course, last season, he's a winner.
Well, and he's been reunited with Joe Madden. And Joe Madden knows the value of having a versatile player like Ben Zobrist. especially in this day and age when you carry extra pitchers down in your bullpen. When you've got a player that can play on the infield and in the outfield, it's a real plus.
And he knows him. He can count on him. He knows what he's getting with this guy. He's a lunch pail kind of guy. He's going to bring it every day and give you a great effort.
Fly ball into center. Pilar is there, makes the catch in the alley. So with 2 outs, that'll bring to the plate the second baseman Ian Happ. He had a big day here yesterday.
Against the Cincinnati Reds, Happ, he's got that classic left-handed swing. He's a switch hitter. This time he lofts the ball to left field. Same type of swing as he hits that one off the batter's eye in center field. He's got some power. You can see why he was such a high pick, a #1 pick of the Cubs just a few seasons ago.
He was part of a 6 home run day for the Cubs, but they lost to the Reds. They were back and forth, and the Cubs got off to a big deficit. They were trailing 9-0, came back and tied it, but eventually would end up losing.
14 of his 17 home runs hit from the left side.
Happ has had such a big season. That was his 3rd multi-home run game of the year. Rizzo can run a bit as well. 7 for 10 in steal attempts. There's the Blue Angels. They're practicing for the air show tomorrow. Boy, what a weekend for fans here in Chicago. The weather is spectacular. 3-day games here, and then you get the added benefit of that air show going on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, down on the Navy Pier. Don't they come buzzing around down there? We were here one other time, I think, in Chicago, where they had it a year or 2 ago.
Yep.
Loud. Rizzo's got a nice lead over there at first base.
Not running here.
He's got Jay Happ's attention. I'll tell you that.
Well, the Cubs know all about the problems Montero's had throwing out base runners. For the season, he's caught just 2 of 42. And he was 0 for 31 while catching for the Cubs. And there goes the base runner, but Happ strikes out Happ. That ends the inning. Cubs leave a base runner. We'll go to the 4th. Chicago leads it 3-1.
Now bid on baskets full of your favorite Blue Jays players' items. From movies to snacks to fashion, the baskets have all you need to live like the Blue Jays. Now bidding is open until August 21st. All proceeds support the Jays Care Foundation. You can visit jayscare.com/favorite things to bid today. What's in Buck Martinez's favorite gift basket? That's the question of the day.
Oh boy, if anybody knew, huh? We'll keep that under wraps for a while. We move to the 4th inning. Smoke will lead things on, but I don't know what they're waiting on now. Some umpires ask for time, but looks like everything is normal on the field. Smoke doubled and scored in the 1st inning. He had a 2-out double down into the right field corner. Arrieta quickly ahead 0-2.
Arrieta got the first 2 batters in the 1st inning, then gave up that double to Smoke and a single to Pierce. But since then, he's been pretty good. Been mixing his pitches. His velocity is down. And it was in his Cy Young Award winning season. I think a lot of that has to do with the extended playoffs last year, how they had to go through that. So he's down just a couple of ticks. But talking to some of the Cubs people, they said his breaking ball has been better. His off-speed stuff has been a little bit better, and he said it's just a matter of time that I knew I was going to start winning again.
Experience is going to help this Cubs ball club down the stretch, and we've heard about the Blue Jays, how they feel the same way about their experience playing for the postseason. There's a second hit for Smoke. He's 2 for 2 with a leadoff single here in the 4th. Well, Arrieta won a Cy Young Award in 2015 while pitching for the Cubs, and he got off to a slow start this year, but many of his teammates did as well.
Yeah, the hangover, I think, from the long playoffs. Joe Maddon tried to slow things down in spring training and bring the pitchers along slowly because of the added work at the end of last season, and it showed. Up until June 27th, his ERA was almost 5. Since then, it's been 2.10. He's just been placing his fastball. His fastball command has been good. His breaking balls have been good too.
Steve Pearce goes after the first pitch and pops it up on the infield. Ian Happ, the second baseman, battling a bright sun here in Chicago, makes the catch. Pearce is retired.
You know, I don't care what league you pitch in, National League, American League. I don't care. Arrieta's given up 9 earned runs in his last 6 starts. You're facing major league teams, major league hitters. To do that, you have to be on some kind of roll, and he is right now.
You know, you talk about the World Series hangover. I spoke to Theo Epstein, the president of baseball operations for the Cubs, and he said the same thing. It was kind of interesting. He said, you know, we played deep into the postseason. We finished in November, then the parade, and then all the celebration and all the attention you get. It just kind of throws you out of whack. And then the daunting aspect of playing the next 162 games. He said it kind of wore on his team coming out of spring training. Then he dropped this on me. He said, do you know that from 2002 there's only been one World Series champion that has repeated to win its division title? One since 2002. So it's not unusual for a championship team to play deep in the season and get off to a bad start the next year. The only team that won the following season after a championship year, the Phillies. So Miguel Montero gets a hit against his former ball club. Back-to-back, 2 singles in this 1-out situation now.
That's got to feel good. Montero, he was let go by the Cubs after a start where Jake Arrieta was on the mound and Montero was the catcher, and Washington Nationals had a bunch of stolen bases.
June 28th, the Nationals stole 7 bases in 6 innings with Montero catching Arrieta. And after the game, Montero says, man, the pitcher's got to do a better job of helping out the catchers. He was designated for assignment the next day. The Cubs feeling that, you know what, we're just going to nip it in the bud and we're not going to allow any lingering aspects to fester here. So he was let go and the Blue Jays traded for him on July 2nd.
First visit back to Chicago, and he's got a base hit. He's got to feel good.
Kevin Pillar struck out his first timer. Pops this one in the air into shallow center. Long run for Albert Almora Jr. He gets there and runs it back to the infield. Pilar's retired on the pop-up.
He's a good-looking center fielder. You can see why he was drafted so high in the first round. He covers a lot of ground, very sure-handed in the outfield. That was a tough play, having to deal with the sun and the wind. Made it look easy.
Amora Jr. is from Hialeah, Florida. He's just 23 years old. You can see how they're excited about his physical skills. Last year was his first season. He got into 47 games with the Cubs and had an impact in their Game 7 win. He entered the game as a pinch runner in the 10th inning and scored the go-ahead run. Kyle Schwarber led off that 10th inning in Cleveland with a base hit. Amora came in to pinch run, and then he moved from first to second on a long fly ball and scored on the Zobrist double. Ryan Goins hits another high fly ball to center. Amora calling for it, gets there on the warning track, makes the catch, and flips a souvenir to the crowd here in center. Jake Arrieta gives up a couple of singles but leaves them stranded.
Subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. If you tuned in the other night, you would have seen Ryan Goins get stomped on that left forearm. He had actually taken off a bandage and reapplied it during batting practice today. Goins said when it first happened, he felt numbness in that arm area. He said it was almost like you had 2 or 3 Charlie horses at the same time. He didn't fear a fracture. He said it doesn't bother him right now, other than it's just sore. Buck.
Arash, it was a flesh wound. He was back in the next day, and you don't want you get a chance to play like he's playing regularly, so you want to make sure you don't miss any time. Victor Caratini had a double and scored back in the second inning, part of a 3-run rally.
You know what the Cubs have done the last few years? They have made good baseball decisions, making trades. There's some more air shows going overhead. Once again, this guy was a throw-in from the Braves right here. Now here he's starting in August in a pennant race.
We mentioned he's from Puerto Rico, and there's a rich tradition of Puerto Rican catchers. Back to Benito Santiago, the Molina brothers, Sandy Alomar Jr., Pudge Rodriguez,
hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Boy, when you think you're hot stuff, then you watch one of these pilots fly these jets around and really understand what it's all about to have a cool job.
Where is he going?
Up.
Wow.
Smoke grabs it and then slips. He was all set to make a throw to second. I think he slipped as he planted that left foot, ready to get the lead runner at second, and then wisely chose not to take a chance and make a bad throw.
That had 363 written all over it. Watch the left foot go out from underneath Smoke, and he said, you know what? I don't want to risk throwing this ball into the outfield. I don't have enough time. Let me make sure at least one out over at first base. But the Blue Jays, that had a double play written all over it.
Absolutely a bad break there for Happ and the Jays. Javier Baez had a bloop base hit down the right field line. He knocked in a run, and then he was thrown out at the plate trying to score from third after they got the base runner in a rundown.
They can go up against him or they can go away from him, but don't go in. I think he likes that ball in, and he likes to spin on it and turn on it and try and hit it as far as he can to left field.
Baez is 24 years old. He too is from Puerto Rico, like Caratini. Think he's trying to single to right?
Yeah, I think he's trying to jam himself, hit a ball to right field. Now you know why Puerto Rico had such a nice showing in the WBC this year. They have some nice young players.
Francisco Lindor, Javi Baez, and Carlos Correa all played on that infield for Puerto Rico, and of course Marcus Stroman and Team USA beat them in the finals. Foul tip held on to by Montero, and that'll be a strikeout for Happ. That's his 5th strikeout of the afternoon.
For a hitter, that high fastball, it looks so tempting, like you can hit it 9 miles. But a lot of times you do just that. You swing right through it, or you foul tip it or foul it back. Baez can't catch up to that fastball. 5 strikeouts for Happ, all of them swinging this afternoon.
Here's the pitcher, Jake Arrieta. He drove a ball deep to right center. His only time up. Bautista made a running catch. That was with runners at first and second, and they didn't advance. Strike 2. Arrieta strikes out. That ends the inning. The Cubs leave a base runner. We'll go to the 5th. Blue Jays still trailing here in Chicago. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Brad Fay and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. your travel agent. And you can bet there are a lot of fans that have made their plans for this weekend series way in advance. A terrific crowd, and the Blue Jays fans are well represented here. Remember when they used to call that the Brockabella?
Brockabella, yeah.
Lou Brock was marketing those umbrellas that fit like a hat.
They could use them today out in the bleachers.
It is a beautiful day. Lots of bright sun. Hard to believe they played every single day game here before they had the lights put in. I think it was '88 when they put lights in for the first time. But it was day game after day game. I asked Darwin Barney about his memories of playing with the Cubs. He spent 5 seasons here. He said, my fondest memory was my first opening day. I was standing on the foul line and had so much adrenaline going. They played the national anthems, and I realized I was absolutely freezing. I ran out of adrenaline and got cold.
In April, a little chilly.
Opening day, yep.
I'll tell you, I got to spend the end of '81 and the end of '82 here, so it was basically 6 weeks, 1 season in the month of September. That was before the lights, and at the end of that time, that month and a half, worn down from all the day games.
Popped up on the right side of the infield. Rizzo, the first baseman, calls for it and makes the catch.
The all-new 2017 Civic Si. When it leads off, it leads for good. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, you mentioned playing day games, and it truly wears you down for a full schedule. Imagine playing 81 day games. Jay Happ hits it in the air, little looper, and Ian Happ retires Jay Happ. Jay Happ struck him out last inning, so Ian Happ returns the favor.
It wasn't hit that hard, just blooped. Ian Happ showed off his athleticism straight away at second base. Watch where he ends up catching the ball. On the shortstop side of second base. Goes a long way to take that little blooper away from Jay Happ. The hard part about playing here in all those day games is you come off the road trip and you've played 4 or 5 night games in a row, and you got to turn around and play a day game. I know Joe Madden was saying something about that today in the paper about Friday nights they should play, or Fridays they should play night games here just to give the guys a chance to catch their breath.
Yeah. And obviously the club can make the schedule. They can maneuver the schedule to their benefit. But I believe there's an ordinance here in this neighborhood. They can't play Friday night games.
That's right. A city ordinance that prohibits them from playing night games on Friday night here. We'll oblige. We're only here for one trip every, what, 12 years?
Yeah, I love it here. It is a great atmosphere. This is what we grew up watching, day baseball. Bautista squibs it out in front of home. Ball came up and hit him while he was still in the batter's box. We're in the 5th inning, first of 3 here in Chicago.
Jose still in the batter's box. As you can see, that left foot hadn't left, so that's just a foul ball.
One and 2 to Bautista, 2 outs. Jose had a infield hit his last time. It's this ball towards second. Ian Happ gets a nice Sunday hop. Throws him out. Easy inning for Jake Arrieta. He's retired 5 in a row.
blame for giving up 7 stolen bases in a game in late June. Now they face each other today. Montero told me this morning he and Arrieta have spoken a few times since the incident. Montero said, Jake and I are good friends. I always wish him the best, that his family and my family are pretty close. I asked Montero if he regrets what he said. His answer was, quote, I did what I did. I'm happy with what happened. I feel like I'm in a better place right now. Things happen for a reason. I don't like to look back or in the past. As for facing Arrieta today, Montero said he doesn't like to face guys he's caught before because he feels he has too much information on them and it can work against him at the plate. Buck?
That's an interesting take on it. And when you really look at the Cubs, they have caught just 18 of 111 base stealers. So as a team, they've only thrown out 16%. So Montero had a point. The pitcher's got to do a better job to help the catchers.
That might be true, but don't say that to media. Keep that
Not
to
so
yourself.
loud. Yeah, it was a frustrating game. Obviously, you give up 7 stolen bases. It looks like a track meet. Here is the leadoff man, Albert Almora Jr.
You talked about Almora being a high draft pick for the Cubs. That was in 2012. He was the 6th overall pick that season. Carlos Correa was number 1, Byron Buxton number 2. Almora was 6. His teammate, future teammate Addison Russell, was 5 picks after him in that draft. Also drafted after Almora. How about Corey Seager, Michael Wacha, Marcus Stroman? Any of those players could have been a Cub.
There's a base hit for Almora, his 2nd hit. He's 2 for 3. Well, that was the first draft class for Theo Epstein, the executive here in Boston, and he didn't miss on any of his number 1 picks.
Yeah, this guy's a solid major leaguer. He catches that outside pitch and gets it right underneath the glove of Jay Happ into center field. That's his 2nd hit of the afternoon. He's a threat to steal now. And if you're the Cubs, you got to think about going early in the count.
Chris Bryant, a strikeout and a ground out. Almora took a very unusual lead at first. He got a short lead and then he just kind of backed up straight away from the baseline. Not a very big lead at first by any means. Not going. Changeup is hooked into the seats.
He doesn't have a good feel right now for Jay Happ's move. So he is just freezing when he takes his lead. They might want to let Chris Bryant swing the bat. He comes into this game hot.
I think first and foremost, this is a team that likes all of their hitters to swing the bat. Another changeup, another foul. They mentioned Bryant being hot. He's reached base safely in his last 14 games, and over his last 10 games hitting over 450.
Picking up the slack, the power slack, with Wilson Contreras on the disabled list. He says, you know, I was an MVP. There's some ups and downs in seasons. And right now he has picked up the slack with the starting catcher on the disabled list, and he's had a good 10-game stretch.
Got a piece of that and fouls it back. In case you're just joining us, the Blue Jays bullpen a little bit thin this afternoon. Brito Osuna went back to the hotel. He's got a fever, much like Aoki and Kendrys Morales on that last homestand. They both missed a few days. Danny Barnes and Dominic Leone probably not available today, given the work they have gone through the last couple of days. So Tepera would save should there be an opportunity. He would close for Osuna. But I tell you, they got the advantage of the 2 young lefties that have been impressive so far since they have rejoined the team.
Blue Jays have 7 relievers on their roster today. The 3 lefties are available. Nick Tepesch is also on the bullpen. Nick, is tomorrow's scheduled starter for the Blue Jays.
One more inning from Happ and Tepish will start that game tomorrow. They will be beyond the need for Tepish's length out of their bullpen, and they can focus on just the relievers they have well down in that bullpen. There goes the runner. Ball is fouled out of play. Almora was off and running from first.
As a hitter, you like to know when that runner is taken off, especially with 2 strikes, because you momentarily brain cramp if you're not sure that he's going. Everybody's yelling that he's going, and it just kind of frightens you for just a second. A lot of times you'll see, as the ball's in play in center field, fell out of the stands, you'll see the runner at first base give signs to the hitter, letting them know when they're going to go. Eric Hosmer was telling us he did that when he was with Kansas City. He would let the batter that hit behind him know when he was going to go.
Yeah, sometimes when you get locked in, you might think, oh, I missed a hit and run sign. And chase a bad pitch. There he goes again. He got a late break. This is going to be a fair ball. Pierce has got to cut it off. Almora's headed for third. They will stop him there as Pierce gets it in quickly. And Bryant had a terrific at bat, fouling off pitch after pitch, and works Happ for a double.
Remember the 2 breaking balls and the off-speed pitches that he was a little bit out in front early in the count. He fouled him down the left field line. Jay Happ went back there. Watch the adjustment he makes. Bryant slows things down just a little bit and is able to keep the ball fair this time. Just uses his arms and his hands as he just yanks it to left field. The ball's cut off by Pierce, and that's why Jones has to throw up the stop sign.
Second and third. Nobody out. Anthony Rizzo is 1 for 2 against Happ, and he lines this fair into left field, and that's going to score 2. Almora scores. Right behind him is Bryant, and Rizzo continues to wear out Jay Happ. That's his second hit of the afternoon. He is 7 for 11 against the Blue Jays left-hander for his career.
A couple of more RBIs on the board for Rizzo. It's up to 83 now. Giant hole on the left side for Rizzo to shoot for. There's just one defender over there. It's Josh Donaldson. Because they have that shift on, Rizzo takes advantage of it, pokes the ball the other way. 2 more runs for the Cubs. It's 5-1, and with that, Aaron Loop is up in the bullpen and starting to get loose.
You see, the bullpens now are underneath the grandstands in the outfield. They used to be on the playing field here. They have expanded the sideline area. They are underneath behind that screen. You can see the bullpens on camera, and both dugouts have video of the respective bullpens so they can see when somebody starts to throw. Now Ben Zobrist, the left fielder. Happ misses upstairs. Happ has now thrown 89 pitches.
Started this inning in pretty good shape in terms of pitch count to get through this one and one more. Maybe you push him a little bit. I think you have to.
Yeah, the way the bullpen is down in numbers with Barnes and Leon probably not available today. Ball is drilled into the alley, and Bautista's going to get over and makes the catch. He cut it off. That's the first out of the inning. Another hard hit ball for the Cubs here in the 5th. Mentioned the great air show here in Chicago, and Toronto has one that comes up in conjunction with the CNE, and it's as good as any in the world as well. Terrific exhibition over the Labor Day weekend.
You're a big plane and jet guy.
I love it. Absolutely love it. They fascinate me. Here's Ian Happ as Rizzo faked a break from first and stopped. Jay Happ has won the Happ matchup so far today. Ian Happ has struck out twice.
Rizzo's got a nice lead, and he had a pretty decent jump.
He's got a big lead now, out beyond the cut of the grass.
That looks like a one-way lead, like he's forcing him to throw.
Not running. Ian Happ did an unusual thing. He squared showing bunt, pulled the bat back, took ball 2.
Almost like somebody missed a sign there.
More than anything, I think that might be a setup for this next pitch. I bet you they run right here. 2-0, 1 out. They have a 5-1 lead. Not running. There's a strike. Now it's 2-1.
It would make sense just to keep the pressure on the Blue Jays. They have run a couple of times, but they've both been late in the at bat.
Not running here. Another big swing from Ian Happ. It's a 2-2 count. Blue Jays trying to carry that momentum they built up at home here onto the road. It'll be a 6-game road trip. 3 against the Cubs, 3 against the Rays down in St. Pete. Strike 3 call. Ian Happ strikes out for a 3rd time. This time he's called out on strikes.
Jay finally gets one of those high strikes. Montero reaches way back, and I think that's what shocked everybody. Thought that that ball was off the plate, but that caught that high strike area. Jay's had another big day in the strikeout.
7 strikeouts for Jay Happ. Rizzo still at first. Victor Caratini is 2 for 2 with a run scored. The Cubs lost their starting catcher, Wilson Contreras. They have the veteran left-handed hitting Alex Avila, acquired from the Tigers. There goes Rizzo. Montero throws a good one, but it hits Rizzo just before he slides into second. For Rizzo, another stolen base, his 8th, and he's slow getting up.
Looked like the ball hit him. I don't know if that's why it's slow getting up. Darwin Barney is covering at second base. Can't get in front of the base. The ball ricochets off of Rizzo. Right off his leg.
Yeah, it hit Rizzo before Barney could make a catch. Rizzo took a couple of real short jab steps before he started his slide. But he picks up the stolen base. Two balls and a strike. We're in the bottom of the 5th. 2 runs in for Chicago here, and Anthony Rizzo 2-run single as they decide to walk Caratini.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Downtown Chicago in the background. We are on the north side of Chicago here at Wrigley Field. This ballpark opened up in 1914, and it hasn't lost a bit of its charm. Jason Hayward takes the first pitch breaking ball. Hayward has an infield hit, an RBI, and he's scored a run.
Cubs are doing a nice job of taking a lot of pitches, seeing a lot of pitches, making Jay Happ work. trying to get him to that 100 pitch limit.
And that's the pitch that did it. That last pitch to Hayward, his 100th pitch of the afternoon.
In 5 innings, 20 pitches per inning, and we were talking about it earlier this inning about possibly pushing him a little further with the bullpen a little low this afternoon. Maybe you can get him up to 115.
Like to get another inning out of him at least. 2-2, 2 outs to Hayward. Cubs scored 3 runs in the bottom of the second to erase an early 1-0 Blue Jays lead. And then the Jays haven't been able to do anything against Jake Arrieta since that first inning. They've had 3 hits in total since the first. That's off the end of the bat.
He's got him in swing mode now. He can go upstairs if he wants to, or he can throw that breaking ball. Jay's had a good breaking ball this afternoon. 7 strikeouts through 4 2/3 innings.
Happ's spot in the batting order is 8 spots away, so if he could continue to pitch and get outs, he'll stay in the game for a while. He strikes out Hayward, 2 strikeouts in the inning, 8 in the game. The Blue Jays are down 5-1, but the big bats coming up here in Chicago. Josh Donaldson, then Justin Smoke, and Steve Pearce. Pacific time on Sportsnet. Sportsnet now. Pitching matchup is a good one. Chris Sale goes to the mound for Boston against CC Sabathia, just coming off the DL. Sale is 14-4. Sabathia 9-5. 2 of the toughest left-handers in all of baseball. They certainly are a little different in style in these days, but they are both equally effective. Jake Arrieta has been effective so far in this game. He hasn't walked a batter, struck out 4, and been economical. Just 66 pitches through 5 innings. Donaldson, he's all over that first pitch, but rips it foul. Josh so far this afternoon is 0 for 2. Donaldson was a Cubs #1 pick in 2007 out of Auburn University. And then he was traded with Sean Gallagher, Matt Merton, and Eric Patterson for Chad Godin and Rich Harden, a Canadian.
Weren't we reminded of that today by some of the Cub people? Say, hey, Josh Donaldson's doing pretty well. He used to be with the Cubs. He went to Oakland, then came to Toronto in that big trade with the A's 3 seasons ago.
Donaldson never played in majors with the Cubs. Count is in his favor, and he asked for time. This is the first game Josh has ever played in Wrigley Field. Way outside. Caratini got a little too close to that bat and he made the catch. Smoke has had a good start. He's 2 for 2. Watch the follow through.
He's set up on the outside part of the plate, then he has to reach back up and in. Catches it right on the wrist or the forearm.
You don't have to reach in to the path of the bat. That ball's going to come to you. Just stay back there and catch it. Full count. Donaldson takes it up and away for a walk. That's the first walk issued by Arrieta. It doesn't come until the 6th. So here's where the Blue Jays got to make some noise against Arrieta. Donaldson walks now. Smoke, who's 2 for 2. He steps into the box.
Leadoff walk, and now you got some RBI guys coming up in Smoke and Pierce. Arrieta has done a good job today of getting out of trouble. He's left 3 runners on base.
Smoke with a mighty cut. He's liked what he has seen so far from Jake Arrieta. With the 2 hits, Smoke's average sits at 299. Another hit today, he'll push it over 300.
They had Smokey in the shift the last time. He singled the left field, and now they've straightened out his lanes, as they say. A little bit more straight up with a runner on first base. The outfield playing him the other way.
Yeah, he has shown a lot of power to the alley in left center, batting as a left-handed hitter. Smoke has 33 home runs. That is 1 shy of the franchise record for home runs by a switch hitter. Jose Cruz Jr. hit 34 home runs in 2001 for the Blue Jays. 1 more long ball and Smoke will tie him for that franchise record. Strike 3 call. Smoke jumped back from that inside pitch. Looking at it at pitch tracks, looked like it caught the inside corner.
Nick Arrieta doesn't have a reputation of a guy who can have that swing back fastball. He'll go in there, but he doesn't get a ton of movement. That time he comes up with a 2-seamer. It's starting to come back. There's a little bit of a fade to it, but that's there. No argument.
Steve Pearce. Pierce drove in the first run of the game with a base hit through the right side of the infield into right. That chased home Justin Smoke. That was in the first inning.
So the Cubs brass are saying, okay, let me see what my eyes are telling me. And they're saying, you know what, they haven't been able to get around on Arrieta, so the second baseman is a little bit more straight up now than he was in that first inning when Pierce singled to right field.
And Arrieta is staying in his kitchen, both those pitches inside. Arrieta and Pierce were teammates with the Orioles in 2012. Arrieta at that time still finding his way as a starting pitcher. He was 3 of 9 in 2012 with a .620 earned run average. Boy, he's really turned things around for himself. We mentioned the Cy Young Award in 2015 for the Cubs. Pierce recognized it, tried to deflect it, but strikes out. It was a good pitch, and he just tried to deflect it. Took a funny swing at it, but strikes out.
Jake has always had great stuff. When you would watch him pitch in those days in Baltimore, you'd say this guy should be a big winner. He just hasn't been able to harness it until he's come over here. He got Pierce looking for that breaking ball, and he's able to throw a fastball right by him. That's 6 strikeouts this afternoon for Arrieta.
Miguel Montero, a base hit in his last at bat, clean single into right. You talk about a ballpark changing from day to day. A lot of it has to do with the starting pitchers, of course. But it's a 5-1 Cubs lead. Yesterday, the Reds won 13-10.
What was it, 9-0? And the Cubs came back and tied it 9-9 and ended up losing that game.
It was 9-0 going into the bottom of the second. The Reds scored 9 runs in the second. John Lester injured himself, came out the game, and now he's been placed on the disabled list. But the Cubs got 5 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, and eventually a run in the 7th. But then the Reds came back and won it. Montero, a little dribbler up the first baseline. That's going to roll foul.
Cubs hit 3 straight home runs at one point in that game yesterday.
Bryant, Avila, and Happ all hitting home runs off Scott Feldman. Hit 4 home runs in the 4th inning. Happ had a pair of home runs. He had 2 home runs off Feldman. Actually, 3 home runs in a row were Avila, Happ, and Baez. Montero with a 2-1 count. Pops this one up. Foul territory. Bryant is there and makes the catch. It ends up in fair ground. Montero's retired. The Blue Jays get a leadoff walk and nothing more. Through 5.5, the Cubs and Arrieta have a 5-1 lead. And Wrigley throws 103 pitches, and he got squeezed early in the ballgame. There's no question about it. Strike zone very conservative. He walked 2, struck out 8, charged with 5 earned runs over 5 innings, and he leaves the ballgame now with his club trailing 5-1.
A lot of bleeders against J-Happ. Also some bloopers that found the hole. So he is done after 5. Aaron Loup will be the first reliever this afternoon for the Blue Jays. Aaron has pitched a lot lately. He pitched to 2 batters in yesterday's ball game. He also came in and faced 1 batter the day before that. Had a day off through an inning and 2/3 then 4 days ago. So Blue Jays need some innings and need some outs from Aaron Loup. He is in once again.
It'll be 8, 9, and 1 for the Cubs. Baez, Arrieta, then back to the top of the order, the leadoff man, Albert Almora Jr. Baez is 1 for 2 with a strikeout, picked up an RBI, his 56th in the second inning. Little pop-up. Barney backing up into the outfield makes the catch. Loup retires the first batter here in the 6th. Jake Arrieta, the pitcher. He has flied out and struck out.
That game yesterday that Loup pitched for the Blue Jays, came in to face Dickerson, gave up a base hit, and a base hit to Echeverria. Before that, he ended up walking Souza. Remember that ball game a couple of days ago? It looked like he had a strikeout. He's been throwing the ball better. His fastball command has been better. He's used the changeup to the right-handed batters to get outs with.
That walk to Souza was with the bases loaded, and that would lead to the ejection of the manager, John Gibbons, who was thrown out of that game by Lance Barksdale, who played umpire. Strike 2, ball and 2 strikes to the pitcher, Jake Arrieta. 41,814 here in attendance this afternoon. Arrieta's got a base hit. We told you he could swing the bat.
Canada's favorite car cheers for Canada's favorite team, Honda. Proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
That is the Navy Pier, just jetting off from the shores of Lake Michigan. It'll be a big weekend here. The weather couldn't be more cooperative. It's a spectacular Friday afternoon. Albert Almora Jr. goes after the first pitch. He's had a nice afternoon. 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored.
Hunting fastball right there. So the Blue Jays change up on him. Luke throws him a change up. Gotta get that ground ball. He gave up that hit to the pitcher with 2 strikes. That's a no-no.
Another changeup. 0-2. Breaking ball. Luke makes quick work of the leadoff man, Almora.
Much better breaking ball to Almora to get the strikeout than the one he flipped up there to Arrieta. Arrieta's looked like hey, let me get this one over. He'll swing through it and got a base hit that time. Had a little bit more torque on it. Pulled that thing down and in. That's where you want to throw it with 2 strikes.
Chris Bryant doubled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Takes a strike. He appealed down to Joe West. He said no swing. Another good breaking ball there.
Bryant's a good low ball hitter. I think you have to elevate the ball against him. Keep the ball up, swing right through a lot of those pitches. You keep it down though, he can golf that ball out of here.
Yeah, he's got that uppercut swing, and it's hard to uppercut a high pitch. This ball is trouble into the alley in right field. Bautista makes a nice running catch. Takes a hit away from Chris Bryant. Looked like it was going to drop in right. But Bautista, with good closing speed, comes on to make the running catch and save a hit for Luke. Jose got a good angle and calls out Pilar. I've got it, clear out of the way. And that catch ends the inning. Much appreciated by the pitcher.
With Sportsnet Now. Live stream every Blue Jay game, MLB matchup, plus get your news 24/7 with Sportsnet Central. To sign up for Sportsnet Now and get 7 days free, visit snnow.ca.
Jake Arrieta, 6 solid innings in the books for Arrieta. He's thrown 84 pitches, walked a batter, struck out 6. The only run he allowed came in the first inning, and it came in with 2 outs. Justin Smoak had a 2-out double. Steve Pearce right behind him singled him, knocked him in, and the Blue Jays have been stymied ever since the first.
Been on a nice little roll. He's 4-1 since the All-Star break. His only loss came here at home. But he's pitching like a Cy Young Award winner this afternoon.
Kevin Pillar so far 0 for 2 today. Fair ball down the left field line. That bounces in Pillar's favor as it hits something and just died. So Pillar is into second easily. That's his 29th double of the season. A leadoff double here in the 7th.
That ball was ripped. Fastball by Arrieta, and he turns on it. Watch Pillar get that ball middled in. He rips it over the bag at third base. Down the line, and you're right, it hit something we couldn't tell. Is that a brick or the doorway or something?
Little doorway there, and it hit on the edge of that, and it just came to an abrupt stop. So he made it into second easily. But Ryan Goins now. Goins is 0 for 2. In fact, he had a strikeout and a flyout just like Pillar. First pitch strike. Blue Jays trying to claw their way back into this game against Jake Arrieta.
Well, with that base hit right there, that will guarantee the pitcher spot to come up. So Aaron Loop's afternoon looks like it might be finished.
Ground ball to the right side. Haphazard, and Goins is retired on the play. Pillar goes from second to third. So remember, the pitcher Aaron Loop is batting in the number 9 spot, just one batter away. So before we get the next batter, Darwin Barney will be lifted in favor of a pinch hitter here, with a chance to cash in that runner from third. Ezekiel Carrera will come off the bench. Barney out of the game, having gone 0 for 2. Carrera, as a pinch hitter this season, is 3 for 8, and that's Chris Bosio, the pitching coach. So this is more about a scouting report meeting than it is about a pitching change.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts going on right now in this ball game. That's Tim Meza, who is up and starting to throw. Carrera's been announced into the ball game, and the thing about Carrera, you can keep him in the game, put him in left field, bring Steve Pearson and play second base to take over for Darwin Barney. You still have the pitcher spot on deck.
Carl Edwards Jr. loosening up for the Cubs in their bullpen. Lester Strode behind him. He is the bullpen coach for Chicago. So Pilar's at third, 1 out. Ezekiel Carrera batting for Darwin Barney. First pitch strike. Lays off that outside pitch. Aoki, another left-handed hitter, has grabbed the bat. He's moved out on deck. He will bat for the pitcher.
It's the pitcher spot right there. Carrera's got to get this running. Keep it in the middle of the diamond. They also need base runners.
Lays off that outside pitch. No swing. 2-1 now. Carrera has a pinch-hitting home run this season. We mentioned the 3 base hits he has as a pinch hitter. Three and one. Hey, you never know. You got the bullpen working for the Cubs. Carl Edwards Jr., hard-throwing righty. Nori Aoki is on deck. He will bat for the pitcher in the number 9 spot.
He doesn't want to walk him. So if you're Carrera, look for a fastball.
He walked him. So Arrieta gives up a double, gets an out on the Goins ground out. Now walks Carrera, the first pinch hitter, and Joe Madden looks like he's going to make a move.
Well, the Blue Jays are making a move of their own first. You know, after that walk, Blue Jays are thinking 3-run home run. So Kendrys Morales is now going to pinch hit and not Aoki. Joe Madden was waiting for him to be announced into the ball game.
Yeah. Once the ball 4 was thrown to Carrera, Morales came out on deck. And so Arrieta's day has come to an end here. In the 7th inning, it goes 6 in the 3rd. Morales, the big powerful hitter, will face the right-hander Carl Edwards Jr. when we come back. Blue Jays threatening to get right back in it. New pitcher for Chicago, the right-hander Carl Edwards Jr. taking over for Jake Arrieta.
The hard-throwing right-handed batters, left-handed batters haven't had a lot of success against him. He's averaging 13 strikeouts per 9 innings. He also has 17 holds this season, pitching in front of the back end of that bullpen. He's got a hard fastball, hard slider. And they bring him into these types of situations with runners on base to try and snuff out rallies with that big strikeout ratio. That's why they bring him in, keep it right there.
This is his second full season with the Cubs. He got a cup of coffee in 2015. Kendrys Morales pinch hitting. Runners at the corners, 1 out. Hot shot. Rizzo will come home. They've got Pilar hung up between home and third, and now Pilar breaking for home keeps the rundown going, and Edwards puts the tag on him. Carrera moves over to third. Morales bounces into the fielder's choice. He is still at first. Rizzo made a nice play up at the first baseman.
Don't know why he didn't go 3-6-3 throw to get out of the infield or get out of the inning.
They certainly had a shot with Morales running.
That's right. That's right. Maybe he thought he didn't have an angle to throw Carrera out at second base, so he took the out at home. Pilar does a nice job of getting in that rundown long enough that Carrera can go from first to third.
Carrera got a good break on contact, and he was well toward the bag at second. And Rizzo probably took him a peek at second, said, you know what, I'm not going to get two, so let's save the run. So now that'll turn the lineup over back to the leadoff man, Jose Bautista. 2 outs, still runners at first and third.
There's that wicked slider right there from Edwards. Not a real big guy. He's 6'3", about 170, but he's got some whip in that right arm.
Bautista 1-for-3 with an infield single. Outside.
Edwards was a draft pick, actually, of the Texas Rangers out of high school back in 2011, 48th round.
He was part of a deal that sent Matt Garza from Chicago to the Texas Rangers in 2013. Bautista pulls it past Carrera, foul.
That's just good scouting right there and understanding what you have. A young pitcher, a young arm, inexperienced, but hey, let's get him to the big leagues and see if we can make him into a big leaguer. Change to the bullpen in 2015 and it has really paid off for the Cubs.
Bautista behind the ball in 2 strikes. Now it's 2-2. Blue Jays probably thinking, hey, we get Bautista on base here. Donaldson comes to the plate. Things could turn around in a hurry. Bautista fouls it.
He'd be the tying run.
Yeah.
And he's hot. Jose has never hit a home run in Wrigley Field. This is his 20th game and he's had 71 at bats. Now would be a nice time to get number 1.
Outside, a full count. So with that pitch, it's a full count with 2 outs. Morales at first will be running on the pitch. Carrera will hold at third, and Bautista's got the most plate discipline in the league.
how deep the middle infielders are. They're playing out on the grass, just trying to keep the ball in the infield on the ground. Rizzo's got a lot of ground to cover at first base. He's got some tremendous range.
3-2. There goes Morales. Bautista hits it down the right side, but that's going to drop foul. Blue Jays trying to get back into this ball game here in the 7th. Kevin Pillar with a leadoff double. He was erased in a rundown. Carrera's now at third. The pinch hitter Morales is at first, and Bautista with a 3-2 count. Strikes him out, got a piece of it, fouled it off. A foul tip, he just barely got a piece of it.
Yeah, called right away by the home plate umpire, Ben May. That's a little bit of a, it looks like a cutter more than a slider from Edwards. It's got some late movement on it. His fastball's 95, 96. Now he's got to deal with that pitch that's moving away from him.
Blue Jay fans trying to rally the Jays here in the 7th. Bautista strikes out. Edwards comes in and puts out the fire. Big strikeout. Blue Jays stranded pair in the top of the 7th.
Is a run producer. He's got a couple of runners in scoring position against Jay Happ in the 5th inning. He drives the ball through the left side. It's vacated after the Blue Jays were in the shift. That's going to play a couple of runs, give them the Cubs a 5-1 lead. Anthony Rizzo's this afternoon's drive of the game drives that ball the other way to pick up a couple of runs. And Rizzo is 2 for 3, and he's going to face a new pitcher.
New pitcher will be the youngster Tim Mesa. This will be his 3rd big league appearance, and so far he's been impressive. He's got 3 strikeouts and no walks in limited action.
He has shown the ability to come in and strike batters out. He's got 3 of them without a walk in his inning and 2/3. This is his development. He was talking about that when he first came up. He said the biggest movement that he has had this year is that development of the slider. I can't get ahead of myself and try and overthrow it. Just have to stay back and put it in the strike zone.
Ryan Goins moves from shortstop to second, taking over for Darwin Barney, who is lifted for the pinch hitter. Donaldson moves from third to short. Bautista comes in from right to play third base, and Ezekiel Carrera, a pinch hitter, plays right field now. So the Blue Jays utilizing some of their versatility. Anthony Rizzo, 2 more hits today against Jay Happ, including that 2-run single in the 5th. For his career, he is 7 for 11 against Happ.
First time obviously facing Mesa. Mesa's got a good arm. Low 90s fastball. Heating it up right there.
Just upstairs. It's 2 balls and a strike. Way up. 3-1. J. Happ started. He went 5 innings, charged with all 5 runs on 9 hits. That's good. Foul. Aaron Luke pitched an inning. He gave up a single and nothing more. That was in the 6th. He had a strikeout. And now Tim Mesa.
John Gibbons going to keep that scorecard real close to him. Still got a lot of moves to make if the Jays are going to get back into this.
Blue Jays still have 3 bench players. They did not use Aoki. He was not announced into the game. Carrera and Morales are in the game. Morales in and out. Pedro Strop, I mentioned he and Arrieta came to the Cubs from the Baltimore Orioles. Rizzo strikes out, and Mesa uses that good breaking ball for the strikeout. 1 away. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Mesa will now work to the switch hitter Zobrist, and he jumps all over that first pitch and rips it down the left field line, and it'll go all the way to the wall. Zobrist is digging around second. He'll throw on the brakes there and stop with a 1-out double. Zobrist didn't need much of a scouting report as he jumped on that first pitch he's ever seen from Tim Mesa.
Well, when it's a fastball and it's middle in, you don't need a scouting report. You just read the ball. That's what Zobrist does. Doesn't overswing, just uses his hands to punch it by Bautista, the third baseman, who was in guarding against the bunt. That's a long way to run for the left fielder. 355 down the left field line. And Zobrist had thoughts of maybe turning that into a triple.
Ian Happ is celebrating the exit of J. Happ, the pitcher. He struck out 3 times against his namesake. Donaldson playing at shortstop. Had one other appearance at shortstop way back in 2013 while he was with Oakland. It was a game against the Astros. But you know what? He's played a lot of shortstop this year in the shift.
Yeah, it's nothing new for him. If you're a good infielder, it doesn't matter where they play you. You just have to understand and know where to go on certain plays, the cutoffs and the relays, who's going to cover on steal attempts and covering the bag.
Bautista came up as a third baseman, so he knows all about that. Zobrist breaking for third, and Bautista slaps the tag on him, and Montero throws him out. The Cubs trying to take advantage of Miguel Montero. Lose a base runner in scoring position as Zobrist is thrown out trying to steal third.
You know, he didn't get the greatest jump, and it was a high fastball, so the ball got there quicker and it was an easier throw for Montero. He tried that replacing of the hands, did Zobrist there from a standstill. He goes in and tries to replace the hand with one with the other, and it didn't work. And caught stealing, and Happ goes down for the 4th time.
The golden sombrero for Ian Happ. Mesa gets a couple of strikeouts and a clean inning in the 7th.
Center are the official team shops for your Toronto Blue Jays. You can get authentic alternate red cap and jerseys available either there or at jaysshop.ca. The Blue Jays will welcome Boston in for a 3-game set some 10 days from now. The following week to Fenway Park for 3 games there. The scenario in Boston not good right now for David Price. Didn't throw today for a 3rd straight day. Ongoing stiffness and discomfort. John Farrell says there is concern, but they're not going to rush it. Farrell says he doesn't expect the Red Sox to pursue a starter from outside the organization, so the watch is there on David Price in Boston. Meanwhile, Dustin Pedroia will start baseball activities for the Red Sox next week. We may see him, Buck, in Toronto then.
Dustin Pedroia has been dealing with a knee problem. He's been on the DL a couple of different times. This is Pedro Strop.
Strop was with Baltimore when the Blue Jays saw him last time. This is his 18th appearance against the Blue Jays. He's 3-3. He's a setup man. He throws hard. Big fastball from San Cristobal, Dominican Republic. That one gets away from him. He's 95 plus.
Blue Jays have some experience against Strop. Donaldson just 0 for 1. Two and 0. Donaldson will make him throw a strike in this at bat. Blue Jays need some base runners. They trail by 4. Obviously, the 8th inning, Jays are running out of time.
The knock on Strop, at least when he was with Baltimore, was he can get a little wild.
It's a high strike.
That hasn't been the case this season for Strop. He's only walked 19 batters.
Donaldson trying to get on base. Was late on that fastball.
And hitters haven't had a lot of luck against him this year. Hitting under 200 against him.
A fly ball to right. Hayward dealing with the sun. He got an angle on it, made the catch. Donaldson's retired. The starter for the Cubs, Jake Arrieta, pitched into the 7th. Surrendered 6 hits. 2 of those hits came with 2 outs in the first. That's when the Blue Jays scored their only run against Arrieta. A couple of walks, 6 strikeouts as he finished up strong. And then turned things over to Carl Edwards Jr. and now Pedro Strop.
Gave up a couple of doubles to Pilar, and Smoke. Everything else was on the ground singles.
Smoke hit that one hard, but there's Ian Happ, the second baseman, making a nice play. Smoke's been on everything he's offered at today. Happ takes a hit away from Justin. Smokey is 2 for 4.
An interesting shift as they elect to keep the middle infielders in the middle of the diamond. They're glad they did. Happ, he might not be getting it done with the bat today, but he's getting it done with the glove. It's another nice play. Chris Bryant was in the shift, the third baseman in short right field, so the second baseman can handle that one. It's a nice looking play.
You mentioned the Cubs have not played particularly well on defense this season. Coming into this game, they've charged themselves 78 earned errors they've made, 78 errors. There are only 3 teams in the National League that have committed more: Milwaukee, San Diego, and Arizona. Pierce hits a little looper into shallow right. It's got a chance to drop, and it will. Steve Pierce drops one in front of Hayward in right, a 2-out single. His second hit.
His base hit in the first inning went to right field. His home run the other day went to right field, and now he's going to stay on this one. He just bloop it into right field. That'll make up for some of those line drives that were caught.
Oh, they never make up. No matter how many of those boops you get. You're always on the minus side of that equation. 2 outs for Miguel Montero, the catcher, in his return to Wrigley Field. He goes after the first pitch. That's going to get down. Pierce will stop at second as Montero has his second hit of the game.
Blue Jays threatening again. Had a couple of runners on last inning on base, could not bring them around. 2 more runners on here in the 8th inning after 2 are out. Hey, he'll throw you a fastball. He likes to show off his arm, and he's got a good one.
Blue Jays to this point have stranded 6 base runners. It is 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Kevin Pillar doubled to lead off the 7th. Of course, Wade Davis is the closer for the Cubs. There's another fastball strike. Once again, you hear the "Let's Go Blue Jay" chants here at Wrigley Field. Pillar went around, called for the swing by the home plate umpire. 1-2 now.
Pillar facing Stroke, not real sure that hard slider. It's a pretty good one. Can hold up on that slider. This is Kevin's first look at Stroke in his career.
That's going to be a base hit. Pierce is around third. He's going to score. Montero is headed for third, and Kevin Pillar, with his second double of the ball game, has driven in the second Jays run. That's the 30th double of the season for Kevin Pillar. He got his fastball and didn't miss it.
He got a mistake right there. It looked like Stroke was going to try and trick him and hesitate just a little bit, and then missed his spot badly with 2 strikes. Pillar's glad he did. Hesitates, looks back at second base. It's actually a breaking ball that just hung over the middle of the plate saying, "Hit me." And Pillar did. Extra base hit, another RBI as Pierce, who started this rally with a single, trots in with the run. Pillar's giving the fans something to cheer about again.
A lot of fans on hand as they have made their way to Chicago, and they've been treated to a terrific afternoon of baseball. Blue Jays need a hit. Ryan Goins, he's been coming through all season long in these situations. He's got a chance to get the Blue Jays right back in this game. Second and third, 2 outs. Goins getting his first look at Pedro Strop, but he's been the best clutch hitter for the Blue Jays this season.
Look at those numbers. 41 of his 45 RBIs in these situations. Says, I'm just trying to score one of those runs. Just trying to tap that ball back through the middle. Shorten up the swing. I asked him, I said, do you consciously shorten up your swing and choke up with 2 strikes and runners in scoring possession? He said yes.
Chases that hard breaking ball. He's taken the approach that Anthony Rizzo utilizes, as with 2 strikes he'll choke up even a little bit more on the bat end.
A little bit more just to get the ball into the outfield and score 2 runs.
19 2-out ribbies. Ground ball through the right side, base hit. Montero's in the score, and here comes Pilar, and the Blue Jays have made it a ball game. Time and time again, Goins has come up with big hits.
And with that hit right there, he's going to set a new career high in RBIs for a season. What an at-bat. Strop gets burned again on his secondary pitch, another breaking ball. And he pulls it into the outfield. The Jays have put 3 runs on the board with 2 outs. Out of the reach of Happ, out of the reach of Rizzo. Here comes Pilar. Just like that, it's a 1-run game.
And the Blue Jay fans are on their feet here at Wrigley. Carrera hits a high fly ball. Almora has room and makes the catch. Ryan Goins with another big 2-out, 2-run single has made it a 1-run game as we head to the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Brad Fay and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Great days on the water begin with Honda.
Ryan Goins has set a new career high with 2 RBIs. He has now driven in 47. That surpasses his previous high set in 2015. 21 2-out RBIs for Ryan Goins this season. He comes up with another big hit.
Gets the Blue Jays to within 1 run. Now Tim Mazak, let's get another shutdown inning, see if they can take the lead in the 9th. Remember, Ryan Tepera is the closer for the Blue Jays this afternoon.
Osuna has gone back to the hotel. He's dealing with a fever. Leon and Barnes not available because of their recent workload. Mays in his second inning of relief. It's Caratini to swing at that breaking ball.
That swing right there tells you the type of breaking ball that Meza has. He's got some depth on it and some movement.
Pat Henkin has really tooted the horn of Tim Meza. He's talked a lot about him for the last couple of years. Henkin knows pitching. Ryan Tepera starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Caratini's had a big day. He's been on base all 4 times he's come to the plate. 3 hits and an intentional pass.
No Wilson Contreras. So Caratini gets the shot, and he's had a big day. That ball was elevated. They wanted it down. It was elevated, and he pokes it into right field. A couple of singles and a double.
So now Jason Hayward hitting in the 7th spot. Hayward against lefties batting .267. Hits it to Smoke. They'll go to second, get the lead runner back in time. No. Hayward legged it out. Smoke knocked it down, and by the time he picked it up, threw it to second and got the return throw. It was too late.
That was hit right at Smoke, and it hit hard. Handcuffed Smokey momentarily, but he had the presence of mind, finding it with the bare hand, throwing a strike to Donaldson. Donaldson back to first base.
Blue Jays are taking a look at it.
Yeah, they thought they had it. Good throw by Smoke, good throw by Donaldson. Still trying to decide if they want to take a look at it. They got 30 seconds. He's saying,
yeah, they're going to look at it. Givens asked Joe West, the crew chief, to go over and take a look at this bang bang play at first. Wow, he looked like he might be in the air when Smoke caught it. I'll take another look at it, I'm sure, different angle, but Donaldson's got a cannon for an arm, and he gave him everything he had on that throw. Ball in the glove, foot in the air.
in.
Wow. That's pretty close, but I don't think the Blue Jays will have enough information to overturn it.
Not enough information to say definitively that the ball was in the glove before the foot was down.
So the play on the field is that Hayward is safe. That would be the first out of the inning, the 3-6 fielder's choice. Javier Baez, the number 8 hitter. Waiting on the review. Joe West is the crew chief. This umpiring crew, he's working at first base. He made the call. Andy Fletcher is the next most senior umpire. Check that. Hunter Wendelstadt's the next most senior umpire.
It's hard to tell. The ball, all it has to do is touch the leather of the glove, and it's considered in the glove.
You know what? I think his foot was in the air. You could see his foot come down on top of the base. Now they have their decision. Joe West will make the call. Safe. Too close to overturn. So Pete Walker, after that long review, will go to the mound.
And here comes the infield. We'll talk over assignments right here. The pitcher spot is on deck, and John Jay has picked up a bat.
Left-hander John Jay. All of the bench players are left-handed for the Cubs. So the pitcher's spot is next after Baez. So Mesa working in his third big league game in this one-run ball game, getting some extra instruction from Pete Walker about possibly what they could do. This is going to be an interesting situation. Baez, as we have seen throughout this afternoon, a free swinger. So you drop a breaking ball on him in the first swing, you might get a swing and a miss. But he's always geared up for the fastball.
He's geared for the number one. You don't have to throw it for a strike either.
There's the first pitch breaking ball, and he fouled out. Well, Montero certainly knows all about Baez. They were teammates. He knows how aggressive Javier is. Mesa trying to keep it a one-run ball game.
Oh no.
That's not going to be good. A two-run home run for Baez. He got his fastball.
Yeah, and it was down. It looked like it was down. That's where he likes it. Down and in. Cubs get 2 runs back. You know, if you're going to throw the breaking ball, you want to throw it down and in with some movement. If you want to throw the fastball, I think you got to go upstairs against Baez because he's got all that movement in his swing, and he's got that big swing. That looked like a fastball that was down, and gives the Cubs a little breathing room.
Home run number 20 for Javier Baez, and this is a home run swing. That was a low fastball, no doubt about it. RBIs number 56 and 57, and the Cubs get 2 of those 3 runs back right away. One swing of the bat from Baez.
The one spot where you can't throw it to him.
Yeah. You throw a breaking ball in the dirt, you throw a high fastball, he's going to swing at the second pitch. But they threw it down in his wheelhouse. This is the pinch hitter, John Jay. Batting for the pitcher, Pedro Strop. Jay showing bunt, pulls the bat back. John Jay as a pinch hitter, 11 for 31, a 355 average. Of course, in the National League, you get many more pinch hitting opportunities. You're liable to get one just about every day. And he draws the walk.
It's a good learning experience, I think, for Tim Mays as John Gibbons is out of the dugout. He's going over to the umpire, and that usually signals that he wants to make a double switch.
Now, a double switch, you have to go to the umpire first and tell him what you're doing with the pitcher's spot. So generally what you do is you put the pitcher into the spot of the last batter. In this case, it would be Carrera. Remember, Aoki is still on the bench, so there's some moves going on, but the Cubs get a big home run from Javier Baez. each year. They're 3 games under 500 at start of play, and their problems have been on the road, especially since the All-Star break. At home, no problem. 7 games over 500, but 6-10 over the last 16 games away from Rogers Center.
Yeah, 5.5 ERA on the road. Tough to outscore teams on the road when you're giving up 5.5 runs. Learning experience, I think, for Mesa. Very good inning in the 7th inning with a couple of strikeouts. 8th inning, gave up a hit. They couldn't turn the double play home run walk, and now it's Ryan Tepera for the 56th time this season. Looks like he's the only right-hander available for the Blue Jays out of the bullpen today. In the double switch, Norichika Aoki will take over in right field in bat 9th.
The ball is hit high and deep to center. Pilar racing back on the track, makes the catch up against the ivy in center. Now Mora gave it a ride. Pilar playing in his first game here at Wrigley Field. Looked like he was a little bit late picking it up off the bat, and then took off and ran it down.
He had to battle the sun. He had to battle the ball. He had to battle the wall. But then eventually hauls it in right in front of the ivy in right center field. He's got the sunglasses down. That ball is twisting away from him also. Stays with it and hauls it in.
2 outs. Chris Bryant, the third baseman, goes after the first pitch. It's a high pop into right field. Aoki is out there as he came in on the double switch. He makes the catch. But a big home run from Javier Baez with 1 out in the 8th. A 2-run shot, his 20th. And the Cubs have a 7-4 lead.
You can join for Blue Jays Back to School Day. The first 10,000 kids aged 14 and under entering the Rogers Center will receive a back to school backpack. That's when the Blue Jays take on the Minnesota Twins at 107bluejays.com for tickets. Speaking of kids aged 25 or younger, the Cubs just set a franchise record with 4 players having hit 20 home runs in a single season. Bryant, Contreras, Schwarber, and now with that 2-run bomb, Javi Baez joins that list too.
Great job, Arash. That certainly bodes well for the future of the Cubs as far as their position players. They're in great shape, and as far as their closer, you couldn't ask for anything better than Wade Davis.
He's been perfect this year. 24 for 24. He's only thrown 40 2/3 innings. Hasn't given up anything. 56 strikeouts. He's got that hard slider, big fastball, curveball. He can cut the ball now, and he has filled in quite nicely as the closer for the world champs.
So the Baez home run has made it a 7-4 ball game. It is a closing situation, a save situation for Davis. Nori Aoki hitting in the 9th spot came in the double switch. was after that first pitch from Davis. Aoki and Wade Davis were teammates in Kansas City in 2014. He has a lot of respect for Wade Davis and that hard fastball. He's got a great breaking ball.
Yeah, it's hard and it's nasty. He can throw it at any time. That wasn't the good one right there. Those 24 consecutive saves is a team record to open a season.
Two and one. Well, okay, the leadoff man batting in the ninth spot. Then Bautista, Donaldson, and Smoke. If you can get something going, you got a shot. You got the big bats coming up. Get a base runner or two. Aoki takes it way inside. 3-1. Wade Davis began his career as a starter with the Tampa Bay Rays. He has made quite the transition. Strike two.
Taken all the way right there. You need some base runners. He's converted 29 consecutive saves if you go back to last September when he was with Kansas City. So Aoki trying to work him for a walk or just get on base any way you can, trying to steal that one.
Aoki fouls it off. Davis made 29 starts in 2010 and 2011 for Tampa Bay. Joe Madden was the skipper. Bouncing ball back to the mound. What a way. We're in the ninth. Tim and Sid coming up after this. So, fellas, what's coming up? Indeed, it is a lovely day. Thanks a lot. And that's all coming up right after this ball game. So here's the leadoff man, Jose Bautista. Bautista 5 for 25 against Wade Davis. Of course, we mentioned his starts for Tampa Bay.
A little bit harder breaking ball that time at 89 miles an hour.
Arrieta's in line for the win. Happ is on the hook for the loss. Arrieta would improve to 13-8. Bautista, what a play by Baez. Oh my! That ball was in the outfield past him. When he grabbed it, spun and fired across the diamond in time.
Is it possible to put two stars down? Because I'm putting it down on that play. He hit a home run to give them a nice cushion, and now takes a hit away from Bautista, fires the ball over, and then Rizzo's got to find the bag because the ball was hit so hard and he unloads so quickly. Rizzo's not there. What a play. Look at the center fielder, Almora, enjoying that one.
How do you separate Baez, Lindor, and Correa? They're all tremendous two-way shortstops.
I would smile too if I made a play like that.
I don't blame you for smiling on that one. That ball was a base hit into left. Donaldson. 2 outs.
hit a home run in the bottom of the 8th inning, then you take a hit away from Jose Bautista. He caught that ball behind him and has plenty of arm strength to just flip that ball across the diamond.
Rizzo had enough time to catch it and then step on the bag. It was hit so hard it got to Baez so quickly. Turned into a relatively easy play after he made that phenomenal catch.
I've noticed that middle infielders play deep here at Wrigley Field. They play actually on the grass, on the outfield grass.
Athletes, range, arm strength, and quickness. So when you back up, you give yourself about 5, 6, 7 extra feet of lateral movement. Your range is much better. 2-2 now. Blue Jays down to their last strike. You can see the shadows creeping closer and closer toward home plate. Shadows of the flags flickering near home plate.
You can get in your eyesight if you're standing up there. This guy's tough enough.
Donaldson strikes out, and that's the ball game. Well, the Blue Jays made it close with 3 runs in the top of the 8th, but Baez with his bat and then with his glove slammed the door on the Jays to get back in it late.
I think the Cubs showed us this afternoon why they're the defending World Series champions. They've got a lot of athletes on this diamond. They've got plenty of pitching, I think, that can help you get back into the World Series, and they got a good closer at the end of the game in Wade Davis. Cubs win game number 1. Blue Jays made it interesting late.
They sure did, and we'll do it again tomorrow afternoon. Nick Tepish will go up against Jose Quintana. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Here's Tim and Sid.